T-Bone and Heather in the morning on Star 98.3 and 97.7 The Bay.
Not just us, but look at here.
Here's Johnny.
Good morning.
Yay!
Hello, my friend.
It's been a couple of weeks.
It has been.
So glad we're back with you.
Yeah.
'Tis the season, right? I mean, movies
It is.
galore.
It's starting to feel a lot like hell froze over out there. It is freezing outside.
Yeah. Hey,
So-
I was wondering, you have a little girl
Yes.
and a little boy, and I was wondering, did you take them to see Wicked or Moana yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
We actually have a trip that I didn't know was going to be so expensive, but we're going to New York
Ooh.
the 14th through the 17th.
Are you
for
gonna see Wicked?
Christmas. Hey, did you guys know prices go up like 300% in New York during Christmas?
They
They sure
do.
do.
Yeah, I just want
They
to pass
sure
that helpful
do.
thing off.
Are you doing the Rockefeller Christmas show? Or
Yeah, we're gonna go see that, but I got tickets to Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Like, there's
Ooh.
a couple that we could go to, and I was like, you know what, we can't go and not take them to something. So
Right.
that was also expensive, by the way. Apparently, New York not for the cheap.
No.
Not at Christmas time.
No,
Not
at
at
any time, but
Christmas
definitely not at
time.
Christmas. Yeah. So, but yeah, so we haven't seen Wicked. I saw Wicked on not in Broadway, in Chicago, probably 15 years ago,
It's a
and
great
I remember
story.
very few details, but I remember going into it thinking, this is not something anybody needs. We don't need to know why the Wicked of the Witch of the West got a house dropped on her and all
Right.
this.
Right.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I remember it was amazing, and I remember that it paints the witches in a whole new light. That's one of the few movies this year of that level that I still have not seen yet. There's just been too much coming out, so I haven't seen the movie. But I've heard from people that hate musicals. Number one, because that's something you always
That's
have to consider.
Look at the guy across from you there.
It's-
I just can't. I can't divorce myself from the. It's just never happened to me in the real world where everybody broke into choreographed singing.
Right.
And
So
so
when-
it just ruins
it's
it.
fantasy, T.
When
I
did
know.
you kill your inner child? Was it
I know,
last
right?
week or
Think about
He
that.
has no
two
song in
behind
his
the ear,
heart.
right?
But yeah, so it by all accounts it's amazing. I think we're probably going to go see it. I actually got a screener for it last week, but that's like what was me? This time of year I get award screeners. And,
Right.
But they do this really annoying thing where they put your email address, like they watermark it, but instead of putting it in the corner or somewhere like that, it's dead center in the middle of the screen.
Oh, come on.
So you look
Why
at
do
your-
they do that? That's terrible.
So you can't pirate it, but also
Right.
like, come on. So we'll probably go see it either this weekend or the next. But
Great.
there is a ton. This weekend is probably one of the weirder weekends of the year. It's like this is the dumping ground of just movies they couldn't figure out to put somewhere else before the Christmas holiday.
Okay.
They figure people
award
are
rush.
out. Maybe they'll go see it.
Yeah, we have the first one is Night B. We'll
Okay,
say
right,
there's a longer
right.
name, but we won't say that. Night
Okay.
B, starring Amy Adams, and this is not going to be for most people. I don't think.
I think the title would dictate that.
Yeah, well, she's a suburban mother who's grown tired of her life, and she starts to develop the second personality that she's a dog. She's a dog.
Okay. All right.
Hence the name. Yes.
Wasn't
Yes.
she in that movie Animal?
Yes,
Night Animal or something like that?
She has developed a niche of being in these really weird films.
Yeah.
Nocturnal Beast.
That's
Nocturne-
what
yeah,
it
there you go.
was. Thank you. Good call.
Creatures, maybe something.
There's
I don't know.
one through line in all these weird movies she's in, and she's always amazing in them. Like as far as a strange character study showing the torment of boredom and what people go through, it's great, but it's just too weird. And
Yeah.
Adams is amazing in it, but it's
Too
just
weird is
too weird.
That's the best way to describe a lot of movies out. Where
Yeah.
you just go, it's not that it's bad, and it's not that it's badly performed. It's just too
It's
weird.
just weird.
Do you know how sometimes you watch a movie and you can this director probably wore a beret.
Yeah.
Like, he probably had short pants on when he was making it.
Right.
This was that kind of film. And then there's the Order, which is should be fun, but given today's world, kind of scary recap of a true story. Jude Law stars as an FBI agent, and he's hunting down a small town militia.
Okay.
It's a good action movie. Jude Law is having the time of his life in it. Ty Sheridan's also in it. There's a bunch of people that you'll see and say, I know them. But really fun. If you're looking for an action movie, just a straight up action movie with a little bit of a historical edge to it, that's a good one to go through.
Oh, okay.
You remember in the 90s, that popped up a lot, like local militias here and there.
Sure.
Especially around the David Koresh stuff. You
I
started
tried
hearing
to
about it
form
more.
one, and nobody would join.
Well,
Yeah.
remember Red Dawn?
Well, it was the No Girls Allowed that you put on the outside
right.
of our base.
That's exactly right.
That's what it was.
Right.
They don't like that. Yeah, and then there's The Return, which is very interesting. This is about Odysseus, the Greek hero, after he comes back from the Odyssey, essentially, and it kind of gives him an anti-war edge. It's I really, really enjoyed this, but that's mostly because of my son, who's got me reading these Greek myths to him every night.
Yeah,
I couldn't be more proud.
Right.
But also,
so
we're knee deep in that. But if you have any kind of love for those stories, Clash of the Titans, the Odyssey, that stuff,
Percy Jackson,
you'll really like this one. It's a little bit long, I'd say. It
has to be. It's an Odyssey.
Well, yeah, it's a little over 2 hours, but it feels. I don't know. It's strange because usually when you say something feels longer than it is, that means it's bad.
Yeah.
But this feels longer than it is because it's like the best history, non-history class you took.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that one. Y2K is the other one. There's two. Believe it or not, there's two more on the list in the theaters this weekend.
Y2K.
Y2K.
Isn't that about 24 years late?
Yeah, a little bit. But it's a perfect piece of warm apple pie for a very small group of people, and that's my group of people. I graduated in 2000.
Okay.
So people around my age will really like this movie. It's a group of kids on New Year's Eve, Y2K, trying to stop the end of the world.
Okay,
and
right.
parties and all
Right.
that. So
Sure.
everything we thought would happen. And
that's cool.
It's a lot of fun. It's a stupid teen movie at the end of the day, but it was a lot of fun.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And then last, the one I didn't see this week that I'm very mad at myself for not seeing it for no other reason than for you is called Werewolves. One of my
the trailer.
My favorite B movie actors, Frank Grillo. If you
I
don't know
love Frank
You
Grillo.
do know the name. Okay, perfect.
Yes,
yeah.
I love Frank Grillo.
He came onto the scene. I mean, he's been acting for 25 years, but he came on the scene in a major way with the Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Right,
when he played
was
Crossbones.
right. He was like the bad guy that worked for who's the Hydra.
Right.
And they're transporting Captain America in the elevator, and he's the tough guy.
Yeah, he's the main tough guy in there.
Yeah.
He looks like he's scrappy.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
definitely got that little spark plug, slab of iron look
Sure.
to him. But he's been in just so many movies. There was one a couple years back where it was basically an action version of Groundhog Day. I think it was called something like Action Movie, something silly. I can't remember for the life of me, but he was great in that.
So he's a werewolf in this.
Yes, he's a werewolf in this. It wasn't screening around here, which is usually not a good sign, but. Honestly, for most people take that as a bad sign, but that just tells me that it's the kind of movie that audiences will probably like and critics probably won't.
You saw the trailer, T?
I did see the trailer.
And was the trailer good?
Yeah, the trailer was good. They got the werewolf right.
Bipedal?
Absolutely.
It's very important to T.
And massive and huge and just like daunting.
If you don't do that, you're skipping the were part. It's
Well,
just a
that's
wolf.
exactly. You just got a wolf.
Yeah.
So that visually it looked great. If that's your genre and you're into that, but like
Hard to tell from a trailer.
Like you said a minute ago, you don't release it in December. I mean, why
Yeah.
wouldn't you release that in October?
Right, exactly.
I mean, it's already in the can. It's already there, so that lends itself to being, okay, well, maybe this isn't much because they're just trying to slip it in the hopes that somebody will go, I don't know, that's starting in
miss
10
Halloween.
minutes. Let's just go see that.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few movies that have come out since Halloween, and I'm like, especially this year, because I remember there not being a ton of horror movies this Halloween. There's a few, not a ton, so it's interesting. So that's everything we got in theaters. Also, the 6888, which is it's a Netflix movie, but they're for their awards grouping. They're releasing it in theaters in a limited version, so you'd probably have to go to DC to see this one.
Okay.
6888, it stars Kerry Washington, and it's about a division in World War II of African American women, and the division that they were in was basically postal service, and to deliver the mail to the front. And they basically, it's a story of they came upon this thing, and there was all this mail that couldn't be delivered, and the morale was low because nobody heard from their sweethearts back home, and these women got in there and took care of business.
Great.
So that'll be on Netflix in a week or two, but it's out in theaters now if you really want to.
Let me ask you this: your kids. They're growing up in a world where there's all this sophisticated animation and these great stories and these wonderful movies. Do they? Does that old claymation? Do they watch that at all? Does it resonate with them at all, or do
Like
they?
reindeer,
do they
like
have any
Rudolph?
interest in that at all?
I always forget. I always want to say Hall and Oates, but I know that's not right. The name of the people that made those. We haven't watched those, but I never really got into those, so that's probably why. Like I whenever I see them, they spark nostalgia and emotion, but
Yeah.
I never sat down. It wasn't a yearly thing, but
I just can't relate to you anymore, John.
Yeah, I mean, they're all
It's weird because when I
Rankin and Bass. That's what it is.
when I grew up watching them,
Good pull.
I'm sure the first couple times I saw them, I loved them. Right. After that, I would watch them simply because it was something that you did to kind of get you. Okay, now we're in this mode.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when those claymation things would come on, I would watch them every year, even as like a teenager. Not because I really got a kick out of them. It was because that's what you do at Christmas.
Right. Tradition.
You guys
Yeah.
must have had much more decision-making ability over the TVs in your homes than I did, because we didn't have streaming in the '80s, so
Right.
it was Wednesday night at 9 on CBS. And
Right.
You had to
I
be
think-
on the sofa
Yep.
at that time to watch it.
Exactly. And either Murder She Wrote or MASH, depending on which parent we're talking about, took precedent.
Right.
Okay.
But we'd watch them in school, and they are wonderful. And I think there's something timeless about those that. And look, my kids are a little different because they have me as a parent, my wife as a parent. So
Sure.
they listen to music from the '60s, '70s, and '80s, and that they love. They watch. My son watches Ninja Turtles, from the '80s. So they're really in depth with that. But it's. Now that you mention it, I think we're going to make it a point this year.
Oh, that'd
Just
be
to see
good.
what,
Just to
it'd be
see
interesting to see what they,
think.
because it's so hokey. I mean, you look at it.
Yeah.
It is. It's claymation and
Mr. Snow Miser.
yeah, right,
Right.
exactly. Of course, it can't compare to the animation that we see today. There's no comparison.
But can't
there-
it?
Well,
Because-
I don't know, but that's the thing but there's something I don't know, just
There's an
nice about it.
Yeah, there's an intangible thing about it because those things are made with. You can tell when something comes from a machine or comes from a person. I mean, at the
Right.
end of the day, I don't know what it is. You call it what you will, but when those little claymation figures are out there, they have more soul to them.
Yeah.
And like Skeleton Crew, which is playing on Disney
I was
Plus
going to
now.
ask you about that before you left. It's the new Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
Isn't Jude Law in that too?
Jude Law's in that too.
Yeah.
He's in a lot these days. But
Yeah.
it's people are saying the Goonies in Star Wars. It's a bunch of, but that's only accurate to the point that it's a bunch of kids on an adventure in the Star Wars world.
Okay.
But that brought me back to that same place as those claymation things do, because all of the characters in it are real. There's no, I'm sure there's CGI, but
Yeah.
there's a werewolf-looking guy that's a bad guy, and it's a guy in a suit.
Yep.
And does it look as great? Sometimes it looks better, but even when it doesn't, there's something better about that. The
Right.
human eye can tell when things are in a real place.
We get through the
Right.
holidays. If
Right.
you remember, set the kids down, watch them. I'm interested in their take on it.
Yeah, well, we might just do that this weekend now that you mention it, because
I love
I kind
that.
of feel bad that I've never exposed them to it.
Nice job, Father.
Thanks. Yeah.
Child Protective Services, are you listening?